Welcome to Lavanya's computer classes. In this video I will explain types of attributes. In the ER model already we know what is an attribute. Now I will explain what is the types of attributes also. So what is an attribute means a single value, individual value in the entity set or in the entity is known as an attribute. Single value in the entity is known as an attribute. For example, student entity. Student entity means what are the values are taken in the student means we have serial number, student name, age, like this. So serial number, student name, age all are known as attributes of this entity student. Attribute means single value. Serial number is a single value. So in ER diagrams, ellipse is used for representing an attribute. So ellipse is the symbol, it is used for representing an attribute. Now we will go for what are the different types of attributes are available in ER model. So what are the different types of attributes means first one is simple or single valued attribute. Either simple attribute or single valued attribute. Second one is composite attribute. These are the different types of attributes. First one is simple or single valued attribute. Second one is composite attribute. Third one is multi-valued attribute. Single valued opposite is multi-valued attribute. Fourth one is derived attribute. So these are all are the types of attributes: single valued or simple valued, composite, multi-valued, derived attribute. Now we'll explain each and everything. Now we'll go for what is the single valued or simple valued. Single valued means the name only it is there, it takes only single value at a time. Or simple value means the attribute is not possible to divide it into subparts. For example, here I take a student entity set with some attributes like serial number, student name, age, marks, address. So these are the some attributes of the table entity set student. Collection of entities is known as entity set. So skills also. So serial number, S name, age, marks, address, skills are known as attributes. So the serial number is in this all the attributes. Serial number is the simple or single valued attribute because it is not possible to broken into subparts or it takes only one value at a time. For serial numbers, how many values are given? Only one. So which symbol is used for representing single value? It means for like normal attribute, that is ellipse only. Now I will explain one more attribute, that is composite attribute. So what is the meaning of composite attribute? Composite attribute means it is an attribute, it is possible to divide it into subparts. So what is composite attribute means it is possible to divide it into subparts, which can be broken down into so many parts. So that is called as composite attribute, which can be divided into subparts. For example, S name. In the previous example for student, I took one variable attribute like S name. So what is the meaning of S name? It's student name. Student name contains, it is possible to divide it into first name, middle name and last name. So first name means so like initial name, middle name means your original name, last name means any other part. If you are taking address, address is also an example of composite attribute because it is also possible to divide it into so many parts like door number, street, city, state, pin code, your wish. So address is also divided into so many parts. So any attribute is possible to divide it into many parts, subparts is known as composite attribute. So which symbol is used for representing composite attribute? Means this is the symbol. Simple attribute, and how many parts is possible to divided? That number of ellipses you put above that attribute. For example, I will show you how to draw a S-name composite attribute. S-name is put it in the attributes simple ellipse. Then what are the parts? Those everything keep it in the above that ellipse. First name, middle name and last name. So this is the example for composite attribute. Similarly, I draw address also. So address is an attribute. Keep it in the ellipse. But it is not a simple one. It is a composite attribute. So what are the parts? Door number is one part. Street is another part. City is another part. So all parts are keep it above that attribute. So this is called as composite attribute. Any attribute is possible to divide it into subparts. Now we'll go for. So in this single attribute means it is not possible to divide it into subparts, or it takes only single value. So now I'll go for one more attribute, that is derived attribute. Derived attribute. Derived in the name it is that it is not a original one. It is coming from some another attribute. Its value is derived from another attribute. That's why it is called as derived attribute. Its value is obtained from another attribute. For example, age. How can you calculate the age of a student or age of a person? Means first if you know date of birth and present date, then only we know the age of a person. When his date of birth and what is the today's date. Today's date minus date of birth. Then we automatically get your age. So age, if you want to calculate age means we need some other values also. Present date and date of birth. Then only we get the age. So age is known as a derived attribute. Like total. How can you calculate total marks of the student? Means we can get marks in subjects. Marks in first subject plus marks in second subject plus marks in third subject. Then we get total marks. So total is a derived attribute. Similarly, average. How to calculate average means total marks by number of subjects. So without knowing total marks and number of subjects, it is not possible to derive the value of total average. So which symbol is used for representing derived attribute? Means dotted ellipse. So now representing age. Age is a derived attribute. So we just put total is a derived attribute. So dotted ellipse. In the dotted ellipse we just write TOT. And similarly average. Average is also a derived attribute. And age is also a derived attribute. So we just represent like this. Age. So derived attributes means its values are coming from some other attributes. Dotted ellipse is the symbol for derived attributes. Next attribute is multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued, in the name only it is there. It takes more number of values. Many values are possible to accept in a single attribute. Many number of values. It can have more than one value. Any attribute contains more than one value at a time. That is called as multi-valued attribute. So which symbol is used for representing multi-valued attribute? Means double ellipse. Many ellipses. Single ellipse for single value attribute. Two ellipses are used for multi-valued attribute. For example, skills. Any person can have more than one skill. Some students or some persons are interested in painting, dancing, music, etc. So one person can have any number of skills. So that is called as multi-valued attribute. So how can you draw multi-valued attribute? Means write 2 takes 2 ellipses. Inside the ellipse we just write skills. Now I will give one example. Previously I took some example like student entity set with attributes, serial number, S name, age, marks, attribute and skills. Now take this example and I am drawing now ER diagram for this. So first student is an entity set. For entity set, the symbol is rectangle. So take one rectangle. Inside the rectangle, write the name of the entity set, name student. In this first field, serial number is a single valued attribute. Single valued attribute means one simple ellipse is enough. Next one is S name. S name is a composite attribute because it takes more values. So composite attribute means first it is an attribute and parts of that S name. That is first name, middle name, last name. So those everything kept in the above that S name. Okay, so this is composite attribute. How many parts is possible to write it inside? Next, age. Age is a derived attribute. Derived attribute symbol is dotted ellipse. Next one is, next attribute is address. Address is also a composite attribute because also it is possible to divide it into so many parts like door number, street, city, etc. So this is a composite attribute representation because address is a composite attribute. And next one is skills. Skills is a multi-valued because any student can have more number of skills. Skills, how we write it means double ellipse. So this is a skills diagram. Student entity set, serial number is simply attributes, S name is composite attribute, age is a derived attribute, skills is the multi-valued attribute, address is the composite attribute. So this is the concept of what is an attribute, different types of attributes. Thank you for watching my video. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel, share it and like it. Thank you.